Hello friends and happy holidays! In this video, I will show you how to make these easy, beginner-friendly holiday designs in watercolor with a little pen work and acrylic paint. So let's get started. If this is your first visit, my name is Aura, and on my channel I teach drawing and painting tutorials. So if you want to learn more about making art, please consider subscribing to my channel. So to begin, I divided my paper into 4 sections with washi tape. For this first design, I drew some hills lightly with my pencil, and then to paint the sky, I'm using Winsor blue, and I'm adding it to dry paper, right to the pencil lines. Don't worry about making a smooth sky. I am actually, on purpose, creating blooms with water droplets to make a snowy, starry sky effect. By the way, I sped up the process here, but you can change the playback speed in YouTube settings if you need it slowed down or sped up more. I will also link to all the supplies I used for this demonstration in the video description. You can see here I'm just dropping plain water into the sky to spread that paint out and make that effect. For the hills, I am pre-wetting them all over except for the very top, since I want to keep that white. And for the more distant hills, I want a crisp edge to separate them from the foreground hill. I will make sure to blend that same Winsor blue and add texture with water drops just like I did for the sky. While that dries, I will start the next design of the rainbow trees. I apologize for the view of the back of my head. I'm adding plain water to the center of the rectangle in a triangle shape, and I couldn't see where it was wet, so I probably should have tinted the water first. In any case, pre-wet this area and begin adding your colors. I will start with cobalt teal at the top, then quinacridone magenta, and alizarin on the bottom. I'm just letting the colors mix naturally with the water and dabbing on the colors in little dots to intensify the color because I used a little too much water at first. You can use any 3 colors you wish, but make sure that the colors that touch each other don't turn into a muddy mess. I will wait for this tree to dry and start design number 3, the simple hanging ornaments. You can draw circles with a pencil first if you are more comfortable with that, but I'm just going to dive right in with my watercolor. I'm filling in a circle except leaving a highlight, and then I'll be adding a darker tone to the bottom left and just to the side of the highlight to make it look shiny. So I started with cobalt teal and then added some Winsor blue for that dark shadow area. So I do the same thing in various shapes, colors, and sizes. It is super easy and a lot of fun. For the last design of the holly branch, I start with perylene green and just make a swooping shape with my brush like so. Then I add small branches alternating on each side, and on some of these I will add the holly berries. Just like the ornaments, I will paint in the circles, minus a small highlight, and then they will be next to each other in groups of 2 and 3. Later I will come back and add the shadows between them. It's good to have a very fine-tipped brush for this process. For the holly leaves, I am painting one side at a time, leaving some negative space in the middle. One side is painted with perylene green and the other with green gold. I'm just making these little jaggedy shapes here. By the way, the brush I'm using is a black velvet round size 8, and it's my favorite brush. I've only had it for a few months, but I highly recommend it. I will have a link to these in the video description. Okay, time for round 2. Since my first layers are dry on this first design for the pine trees, I'm using Prussian blue, and I begin with the trunk. Then I just lightly dab the color from top to bottom and side to side to make an imperfect pine tree silhouette. I make the second pine tree a little taller than the first, but paint it the same way. Then I dab a thicker consistency of Prussian blue along the middle to add some dimension. For the long shadows, I use Winsor blue again, the same that I used in the sky, and I roughly match the shadow shape of the pine boughs, careful not to overdo it and overpaint it. I paint the moon and stars in the sky with a paint marker, but you could use gouache, a gel pen, liquid acrylic paint, or whatever you have on hand. Also notice that the moon is painted low on the horizon and to the left, so that those shadows of the trees make sense. Onto the rainbow trees. I just repeated the same process as the first tree, but I mixed up the order of the colors for visual interest. Make sure that your first layer is completely dry so the paint doesn't bleed through. So in this time, I'm starting with the alizarin, then adding the cobalt teal, then the quinacridone magenta on the bottom. And then the other tree, I will reverse it. Next, I'm using a Pigma Micron pen to loosely trace around the ornaments and add the hanging wires. I'm trying to keep it looking modern by not following exactly where the paint is, almost making it offset in places. Just keeping it loose and easy. For the holly, this is where I add the shadows to the berries. I just use quinacridone magenta or any deeper shade of red or purple to paint the center area of the clusters to separate them a little bit. On the rainbow trees, I forgot to add the stars, so I'm going to do that now. I use Indian yellow and quinacridone gold. And since the paint is still wet on the trees, I make the stars kind of hover above them so it doesn't mix into that color. And I kind of look like the look of this too. So I'm just adding that quinacridone gold on the outer edges to make them look a little bit more three-dimensional and shiny. Once it was all dry, I removed the paper from my board with an X-Acto blade and used my paper cutter to cut even edges. There were a couple things I forgot though. One of them was to add the gold to the ornament hardware, and the other was to add the white dots to the rainbow trees. I hope you try these designs for your next holiday cards or even for warm-ups in a watercolor journal. If you try any of these designs or from any of the art tutorials on my channel, make sure you tag me on Instagram at @OraLessonJack so I can see and comment on your art. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel to see more art tutorials. Also, click your notification bell to find out whenever a new tutorial is published, and share this video with your artist friends on social media. Happy painting, and I hope you join me for my next tutorial. Bye!